How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Papa Powell going on the microphone. Papa Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Yo, I'm coming in. What's up, fellas? Give me a second. Let me turn the music down. How is everyone doing? I know I'm a little late here, just getting my bearings together, getting everything situated. And, alright. How are we doing? How's everyone doing on this wonderful Tuesday with one more day left on the month? And this camera seems a little wonky. Out of place, but that's probably because the screen's out of place. There we go. That looks a little bit centered and better. All right. Market today, for the most part, didn't really do a whole lot. It did go up going into the second half of the day, and for the most part of the day it was green. But overall, didn't do a whole lot. There were lots of back and forth, lots of chop, but you had some stocks that moved around that gave you opportunities. So you have to be very selective where you're, at least in my opinion, right? You have to be very selective where you were going to deploy your capital, where you were going to look to make a buck or two on the market. And one of the stocks that I found profitable today, or at least the ones that had a really good trading setup in them, was Pfizer. And I took advantage of that a little bit. A couple other stocks I tried to trade today. RCL, for some reason my internet's being a little slow here. Hopefully that's just TradingView and not my overall internet. I mean, it would make sense if it was my overall internet, because it is hockey night tonight. So it's hockey playoffs game, Toronto Maple Leafs, and everyone in the house is probably using the internet right now because of the IPTVs and so on. Everyone's using the internet, and my internet is probably going to be eating ass all night. But that's okay. Hopefully, as long as the stream is fine, we're going to be okay. So Pfizer gave you a good long, but for the most part, I didn't see anything besides Pfizer that really stood out to me as a trading opportunity. I'm trying to think of if there's any other stock that really kind of ramped up and just kept going on a trajectory. I didn't see one, so maybe if you saw one that I missed out, point it out to me. OKTA was up 7%. Okay, potentially we can take a look at OKTA. I know some of the other what's the sector, cybersecurity sector, have been kind of going crazy recently. A stock that went up in pre-market but didn't really do a whole lot after that is HIMS. HIMS with a partnership with NBO. So nothing really intraday that I would say stood out as a easy trade money or a easy money snipe opportunity. But not every day is a day to go to the club, right? Some days you gotta relax, some days you gotta cool down, and then be ready to go to the club when the opportunities are there, when the girls are at the club. That's when you want to do. That's when you want to show up, right? You don't want to show up to the club and help prepare it, help set up the decorations and so on. That's an analogy that I stole from my good friend Ariel, Real Simple Ariel on Twitter. So make sure you go follow him. And also, just a quick little disclaimer: if you see my head staring on this screen a lot, that's because I'm watching the Toronto Maple Leafs game on this screen. So if you do see me staring off over here, it's because something interesting is happening. So you might catch me losing some of the sentences, some of the tracks that I might be on, and you might see me repeating stuff because I'm focusing on the sport instead of the stream. All right, so Rowboat saying Snapchat. Yes, Snapchat did move, and it moved after hours, so 100% we're going to be talking about that. But I was talking in the sense of today, intraday. Let's also go to Okta, because I said I was gonna pull up Okta. Okta gapped up yesterday after hours. Was that like an earnings move, or I'm guessing that was potentially with the whole sector itself? Zscaler, CrowdStrike, Okta. I mean, that's a pretty damn good gap up if you ask me, right? Let's go take a look at Zscaler. Pretty sure Zscaler had some sort of a news. What is going on here? I can't deal with that much lag. Like, I can't sit here flipping through stocks one minute at a time. Like, I gotta be ready to flip stocks as soon as possible. Okay, so Zscaler, you can see how this one's ramping up to the north side. CrowdStrike is another one. This one's going to the upside. PanW is also going to the upside. All of them going crazy. So it makes sense that Okta does too. but that gap up is actually not like the other ones, right? So this one kind of stands out at the moment. And quickly zooming out, not anywhere close to all-time high, but something to keep an eye on. And I'm pretty sure Okta is in cybersecurity. Maybe it's in cloud security, cloud storage, and not cybersecurity. I could be wrong on that one. Maybe you guys can correct me on that, on what exactly does OKTA do. But still interested because of that pop-up today. And let's quickly go check out what that gap up yesterday after hours was, using our friends at right here. We'll replace Barry in the S&P 500 400 effective May 1st. That's tomorrow. That's interesting if that's the news for it. I actually know that Barry's getting deleted tomorrow from the market completely because they are getting bought out by another company, ASMV or something, ASMR, not ASMR, but something along those tickers, those symbols, those letters is buying out BERY, so they will no longer be trading on the market, and OKTA is going to be replacing them in the S&P 400 mid cap. But at the same time, OKTA is also popping with the rest of the sector also. I want to actually go check out if OKTA, what does OKTA do? I'm pretty sure it's cybersecurity. Okay, so not cybersecurity, more in the cloud area. Never mind. Provides identity and access management. I guess that is kind of services. IAM services. Enabling business to securely manage. Okay, so cloud and security, I guess. But mostly it's secure login. It's basically talking about logging in securely. Helps organizations simplify user authentication, authorization, and lifestyle management across various platforms. Enterprise identity management service built for the cloud. I'm gonna just say cloud and cybersecurity, and that's why OKTA is popping up. But we already know there's an actual reason why OKTA is popping up. Before we dive into the watch list for tomorrow, or create the watch list and then dive into the watch list for tomorrow, let's show you guys how my day went. Overall break even. Woke up pretty late, woke up past my alarms, and I said screw it, I'm just going to take it slow today and not really focus on my, trying to make money. I'm just going to focus on not losing money. Did make money off the open, which was great, but then later on I spent the rest of the day basically giving them that money back on what I thought were good setups. So let's talk about some of my trades today. Over here, the first trade, I guess not the first trade, maybe the second trade of the day, but the most profitable name for me, RCL. RCL sets up for some sort of a short right around yesterday's low. So RCL reports earnings today pre-market, gaps up a little bit, but then spends the rest of the time selling off and then going into yesterday's low. Managed to take the breakdown from yesterday's low, but the stock spread is like $1, so very illiquid, very spready. That makes me a little scared, so I take my dollar per share winner for some size, and then I'm trying to hold some size for a bigger move, and that eventually gets stopped out on the 5-minute candle high breakout. After that gets stopped out, I'm watching this name, just trade sideways for a really long time, but create a higher low, and it looks very close to what the S&B Capital setup is, which is the backside scalp. I'm pretty sure this one's called the backside scalp, where you take the breakout of this range high, you risk that range low, and you look for a 2:1 move, or at least a move is to VWAP, and that ends up being actually a 2:1 move. This is like a $2 risk, and a move to VWAP was a $4 reward, but I trailed a $5 bar low, or 5-minute lows, and that ended up triggering me a little bit quicker than my target, which was around 216, and sadly I only ended up making like $2 per share. So 1:1 trade. No, Ottawa scored a goal, damn it. So was only managing to get a 1:1 out of it. But had I looked for reasons to get back in, you can see how the previous resistance turned into support, gave you an opportunity to get long much later on, or keep scalping this range and then have a opportunity to see if the stock can get back above VWAP, which it actually does. So very good longs over here, given to you by the by the stock, I guess, not the market, RCL. And my most profitable name today. However, the first short, in my opinion, could have been easily bad. This one could have been a very bad trade. It could have, gone against me, and I could have started off my day horribly. And that whole mission of not losing money could have been, a fail, right? That could have been a fail. I would say I got lucky with this one. I'm not going to pat my back with this one for sure. The second long, I'm happy with it, but it's sad that I got stopped out before the move actually played out, and then I made a very conscious decision to not trade RCL for the rest of the day, but I was watching it. I made the decision because how spready it was. I didn't want to sign up for that pain again, especially after not trading it properly the first time. Palantir. As the market was, market actually took out the high a day at this time, and it started to make a range above its high a day, which was also above yesterday's high a day, if I remember correctly, right around this time of day. And Palantir pushes into its high a day and has a little bit of a consolidation, but it's creating lower highs, lower highs on the 1 minute, so it doesn't really matter, but it's creating lower highs, but it's at the same time bottoming out right into 155 30, 115, 115 20, 115 30. So I figured, I could possibly slip in along into this area and risk that bottom. But if we do break out, I want to be ready to participate in that breakout. So getting long, adding on the breakout, then my average is somewhere around in the middle of this range, which makes my life easier, because if the stock does push back and go back into the middle of the area and not able to hold the middle of the range at best, then there is just no more longs, and this might just be a failed breakout a high a day, and I get to walk away for a break-even trade and don't really have to worry about it too much. Thankfully, it didn't do that. It started to go on a beautiful rally here. I'm able to take some profits, add back in when the high a day breaks again, but not too much juice. And actually, at this time of day, market flushes back down. Thankfully, Palantir was strong enough where as market was pulling back, Palantir gave me a bailout. They gave me an opportunity to get out for break even, and I said thank you. I took that bailout. I took that opportunity to get out break even, and I walked away unhurt on that position, thankfully. But that could have been bad. And this one was possibly take more size down here, and that way I don't have to add the way I did over here, and then I'm able to have a decent winner over here too. Also makes my chart look pretty. Talking about pretty charts, let's talk about my best trade on the day in terms of trading ability and consciousness put into this position. Pfizer trade number 1, trade number 2, and trade number 3 kind of ruin everything that I do on trade number 1, sadly. But still, let me pat my back on trade number 1 over here. A beautiful catch off of VWAP. Pfizer reports earnings. I don't even read the earnings report. I'll be honest with you. I'm a day trader, right? I'm just looking at how the stock is trading. It's popping above some of the previous levels on the daily chart. It's staying pretty strong, pulls back into VWAP, and then it starts to create a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. I'm figuring, okay, this is, you can see how that little drop to the downside on Pfizer as it broke VWAP with some volume, but immediately popped back up, and we spent about 10 minutes, maybe less than 10 minutes, basically reverting that whole move. Clearly, there's a buyer at VWAP, some sort of an institutional buyer, maybe a program, maybe just overall buying just outweighing selling in general. Doesn't have to be an institutional buyer. It does, but it doesn't have to. But enough buyers coming in and helping us out to catch the momentum back to the upside as the stock is now taking out the high a day. Thankfully, I make the right decision to not add on this breakout. Usually that's what I do. But what I needed to also make the conscious decision is to actually take more size on the trade, risk more on this position right here. That way I don't do what I did here. So what did I do here? I oversized here more than I had on the day from this position, and that little loss ended up me giving back everything that I made from here. So maybe you don't want to have the most size you had on the trade in the middle of the day during lunchtime. But you know, I wouldn't be saying the same thing honestly had this trade worked out. It actually broke out of a even dollar level, 24. It held above 24 for 20-ish minutes. It was looking very bullish on the tape. The market looked like it was going to take out the high a day at that moment and push to the north side. Had the market actually taken out the highs and continued to go to the upside, I think Pfizer would have easily had a second leg up north and you know, had a 3 ATR move or a 2 ATR move day. This overall was already a 2 ATR move, so I guess keeping that into consideration, maybe going as hard as I did over here was kind of ridiculous. It's Pfizer. It's not like Nvidia or Tesla that could easily have a 3 ATR day if enough buyers and institutions stepped in. But you know, I decided to roll the dice and didn't really work out. So a couple notes on how I could have traded that better. Much later, I guess not much later, but after I get stopped out on it, I'm still watching, and I'm watching how the actual level where my original stop was, and then I moved my stop higher, or I actually manually punched out over here. My original stop was at 84s, and the stock never really pulled down to 84 or broke 84 and popped right back up. So I get back in a little, and I quickly get about like a 5-cent scalp on it. So a nothing burger trade here, but for the amount of size that I had, I make back a little bit money. Overall profitable trade, but this needs to be traded a little bit better. More size, more risk down over here. That way all of this is not really necessary, and I don't even need it. I don't care what happens over here because I've already made all my money right here. That is the trade. This is an A trade. That's a C. That's a C. That's possibly even a D at best, but maybe a B if market actually started to go in my direction. Later on, as I said, looking for the longs on the market, looking for the longs on Palantir, as the market was trying to take out the high a day, got long, didn't have much juice, immediately got out. Later on in the consolidation lows, got long, didn't have much juice on the pop and on the Hail Marys, not the Hail Marys, but on the bailouts. I took my bailout chance and I quickly got out for break even on the market trade there. Tesla, pretty much same idea as the market trade, but the opposite side. At what point when the market was looking weak, I figured, okay, Tesla possibly could give me a short into the hourly candle levels that I was watching, and it did give me a short. It did give me an opportunity to scalp it for a winner, but it's Tesla. I'm not scalping it for 50 cents, for $1. You know, it's a stock that moves $11 a day. That's stupid. If you're happy about scalping Tesla for you know 50 cents, then you know, shout out to you, but I don't think that's a trade to be happy and bragging about. So not a good trade over here at all. Absolutely break even trade, actually. Not even getting hurt because I don't have too much size over here, and most of the size that I do have, I quickly get out for break even as I see things going against me. So nothing burger trade overall. CGC, this one I'm pretty upset about. I was so patient for the entry, but as patient I was for the entry, that's how greedy I was for my exit. So, you know, clear double top over here and reasons to take profit. the previous support level was supporting for a little bit, and you can see how it bounced and then it cracked again. Take your damn profits. Take profits over there, even if it's only a 5-6 cent profit for the amount of size that I actually had here. That would have been an okay winner. I was in the money quite a bit, and you know, I just said, I saw PNL, I saw how much in the money I was, and I was like, oh, this could be a decent trade over here. So I ended up being greedy, and I figured, you know, I'm not gonna take the profits over here. I watched it go all the way back, and then you know, my stop was somewhere in this area. I was like, okay, I'll give it a little bit more risk. That wasn't necessary. I give it a little bit more risk, and eventually, after I do get stopped out, what happens? It pops it right back to my break-even price and trades sideways. So overall, honestly, probably not a good trade. The news was, you know, the Trump administration is looking into making marijuana more legal across all states and so on, and that gives the marijuana sector a pop, but not too much juice behind it, because clearly after double topping, it just sold off or traded sideways. So not really something to be too happy about, because I lost money on it and I had an opportunity to take profits, tons of opportunities to take profits, but greedy. Something to learn, I guess, is not to be greedy, and to respond to what the stock and the charts are actually giving you. You know, play with the variables that the market's giving you, or the chart's giving you, and don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. Let me quickly drink some water and also use this as an excuse to look at the game real quick. What the heck, are we going to penalty? I think Toronto player is going to penalty here. No bueno. Okay, QBTS, last but not least, trade for me today. The last name that I traded, or I guess one of the first names that I traded, QBTS had a short report, so waited for the pop and then gave it a pretty wide risk, got back in, and then pretty much got lost again, and gave up on this name. I guess what I thought was, you know, something that I'm good at recently, I'm equally bad at. So the news trades, I need to analyze them more, I need to study them more, need to go through Lance's, what is it called again? DRCs, need to go through Lance's DRCs again and really understand how he trades these news moves. I think one of the problem is, honestly, he has what, I guess a Bloomberg terminal or one of the faster news squawk services and terminals, and my news squawk or my news terminal sadly is not the fastest, but it is effective enough, because I do get alerted when the stocks are actually in the move, but I would like to get the news that actually causes the move. Sadly, that'll only happen if you get a Bloomberg terminal or something crazy like that, which costs the lung and a kidney. So for now, going to have to deal with what I have with the variables at hand. Even you know, even with those variables, I could have easily had the short. I think QBTS on the daily chart, if you actually pull it up, not on the daily or like the 5-minute chart. Let me quickly click on this. Not that. Right here you can see how yesterday's low. So first the news move comes out, the stock chops around, goes to yesterday's low, pushes back, goes back to yesterday's low, pushes back. That's the double top right there on the 5-minute. Why don't you just be patient for that? Why are you you know, dicking around over here in the middle and trying to make something out of nothing? So I guess I got beat up for that. I guess it was the move VWAP, because the move VWAP was in that area, so I kind of took that too literally, and the short report, you know, losing some money on this, sadly, but that was a trade. I kind of
told myself mentally that it could pull back to this level and then give you the short. But when the stock started to reject in this area, I was I started to get a little FOMO. I was like, oh no, it's rejecting here, it's rejecting here. So this is where I piled into the short, and then I paid the price for it. And then when it actually rejected at yesterday's low, I was like, oh man, see, I told you that's what would happen. So I got back in because it was rejecting that, and I thought it would have the aggressive move to the downside from here. It did not have that aggressive move, pulled right back, double topped at yesterday's low again, and then gave you a beautiful ride down for the rest of the day. So opportunities are there. You just got to be patient enough to and disciplined enough, because patience is not enough. My favorite word in trading, honestly, is discipline. You gotta have enough discipline to stick to your plan, to stick through your game plan, to be patient enough, and so on. So that is my favorite word right there. I started noticing a really bad trend among struggling traders. This is going to sound a bit harsh, but it's important to really think about, if you are a struggling trader, why are you surrounding yourself with other struggling traders? What value do they provide? Okay, what value do you provide? Ooh, okay. What insight do you have that is helping you? What part of your trading has become tangibly better since you started interacting with them? It's cool to have friends, but this is your career. Take this shit seriously. Got it. I mean, this shit is serious. Trading isn't a competition. The fuck it isn't. You're trying to take money from other people. This is the competition, whether you like it or not. You are never going to be LeBron learning from and competing with the guys at the YMCA. It doesn't work that way. Surround yourself with traders that are successful and bring you value, and you do that by providing them value. Also, hearing a lot of garbage about accountability partners. That's the lamest shit I've ever heard. Do you really need someone to hold you accountable? Really? How about your wife and girlfriend and kids being your accountability partners? How about you're paying your rent or mortgage? How about you feeding yourself? If need someone to hold you accountable, just quit now. It's time to grow up. It's time to get serious. Lock the fuck in. This is an awesome post. I am saving this post. I am sharing this post with my pod members, and pinning it, because this is an awesome post. I love it. And if I ever need to have motivation again, I'm going to be reading that one. So what did Kai say about this? The best way to reach out as traders is similarly or slightly higher level than you is by offering them value. I have never once in my career DM'd somebody asking for help directly. Start by liking their post, dropping a few thoughtful comments, then a week later slide in their DMs with some value. Hey man, tomorrow I'm watching XXX stocks. Okay, gotcha. Is this how I start sliding in some smart people DMs, or better than me DMs? I guess so, chat. It's time to start sliding into them DMs. All right, we talked about my trades on the day. We read a quick little motivation post on Twitter. Why did I say almost Instagram? Now it's time to curate the watch list for tomorrow. So let's bring in, yes, that's yesterday's watch list. Let's bring in my good notebook over here tomorrow, and let's start typing in some names. So obviously Robo talked about Snapchat, and Snapchat is a high name up there. Along with Snapchat, SMCI, they reported earnings. So let's actually go to the earnings board and show you guys some of the big names that reported earnings today. Surprisingly enough, SMCI is not on here. Visa, Starbucks, FSLR, that one took a big nosedive. Bookings is also, I think Bookings did go down if I remember correctly, but that's like $1,000 name, so I'm not sure I'm actually going to be looking at that one at all. And sadly, that's all we have. So SMCI, quickly go back to, where is, my goodness, I have so many pages right here. Go back to here. Is there any other names that report earnings after our cut its preliminary earnings and revenue guidance? Ooh, okay. WFC, PFE, okay, I guess that's about it for the after hour earnings reports. And then now if we go to the stocks that report tomorrow pre-market, Caterpillar, I'm not gonna put Humana in my watch list. I'm pretty sure Humana is like a $500 name. Oh, it's a $200 name now. Okay. Maybe worth watching now then. Okay, Humana, we'll throw it in there then. HUM, why did I go down? HUM, Caterpillar, Western Digital, WDC. I love trading that one on earnings names. GE Healthcare, GEHC, HES. I remember maybe it was. Maybe no, it wasn't HES. GE Healthcare, GEHC. What are you priced at? GEHC. $70, $60. Looks like a little bit of a gap down and possible. I could see some opportunity setting up on here if things look right. So we'll throw that in the watch list too. You guys remember how GEV, GE, all set up for some good trade opportunities, and they're still going up. So GEHC, I'll slip that into the watch list for tomorrow, and that's basically the earnings board right there. Maybe some of the names that from reported today pre-market and so on. Oh my god, I'm gonna have so many names today to go through. UPS, SoFi, however you want to say it. Pfizer, obviously. Pfizer, obviously. RCL, Spotify. Gonna ignore Altria, going to ignore FFIV, Domino's Pizza, and everybody else. Quickly go back into Centerpoint's post. HIMS and Novo Nordisk. For sure, gotta add these ones in there. NVO, HIMS, Novo Nordisk. WFC, don't think I care about that one. QBTS, because of their short report, so potentially worth keeping an eye on for a possible day 2 bleed down. REGN down 6% after reported worse than expected Q1 financial results. That's another earnings name from tonight, so I guess we'll put that one up here. And then already on the board, OKTA, so Okta, potentially worth maybe looking at some of these names too, because they are going up at the moment. And then now I'll throw in the Bitcoin sector, because MicroStrategy is going a little wild. So MSTR, IBIT, Hood, Coinbase. And then I want to take a look at the large cap names. So that's going to be the Magnificent Seven, Nvidia, Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and then we have the ETFs. Boom. And that is an absolutely wild watch list for tomorrow. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go through the first one. Snapchat reported earnings. We're gonna quickly skim through the earnings part. Mainly going to take a look at what the stock reported, what the growth is, and then what the expectations are. I'm not gonna spend time reading everything. First quarter 1.36, up 14% year over year. Revenue beat of 1.35. Estimates 460 million daily active users in the first quarter, up 9% year over year. Company also surpassed the 900 million monthly active users figure, on its way to the goal of 1 billion. Okay, that's pretty surprising. Given the uncertainty with respect to how macroeconomic conditions may evolve in a month or two, broadly, we do not intend to share formal financial guidance. So that is the important factor, I guess, why the stock pushed down. The company is guiding a daily active users to be at 468 million in the second quarter. While there is uncertainty regarding the macro environment, we remain like, you're a technology company. Who cares? How does tariffs matter to Snapchat? What are we talking about here? I guess like maybe ad spending, but what are we talking about here? We remain optimistic about the long-term prospects of the business. The company said it's optimistic about the progress it made with its ad platform. Like, that's the only thing I can see how that it gets affected. Possibly companies spending less on ads because of tariffs, and they are trying to cut down expenditure and costs and so on. But besides that, I don't know how that affects Snapchat. Maybe this is using an excuse to not give guidance and lay low, using that as a blanket to cover themselves with. So not sure what's happening, but hey, one important metric for me as a daily active users, and the second important metric is growth, and both of them are green. So this stock going into the 52-week low area, it's actually at 750, but 52-week low is right below 750 into that $7. So pushing into that downside is, in my opinion, a pretty easy long tomorrow if you are able to find a big buyer right at 750 or right at $7. So I'm gonna possibly be looking, I know I can't believe I'm saying this myself, but I'm going to be mainly looking for a long. It's going to be hard looking for a long on a stock that reported growth year to year, and looking short for a stock that reported growth year to year and is talking about their monthly active users almost hitting to 1 billion, right? Well, that's pretty crazy. For the quarter, they are at they're at 468 million or something. Pfizer, however, not Pfizer. God damn it, it's because Momo said something about Pfizer in the chat and it distracted me. Snapchat, however, does not have a PE, and that is not going to be the most bullish thing for them. And just struggling overall. Pfizer just stays struggling. What is going on with this stream? Still 1-0, so that's good. So it's going to be hard for me to look short. If it does get below 750 and looks weak below 750, let's say pre-market, right? Pre-market, it's opening up below 750 and it looks weak below 750, then I can't do anything but go short and look for a move to $7. But if it's weak around 750, but it's not really getting under 750, it's kind of just staying around 750, then I'm not looking for that short. I'm looking for a long instead, maybe on a breakout. Maybe I'll get in a little bit on the lows and then scalp my exits on the top and then look to add on the breakout. So that's the trade I'm looking for tomorrow on Snapchat for the most part as a day trade. But you can see how investors and the big money, the money that actually you should be following, potentially making their cards visible already, and that is, we don't like the stock and we don't like the earnings report, we are going to sell it off. What a save! Oh my god, I just saw that with the corner of my eye. Insane save. All right, Starbucks is the next stock on hand. SBUX, did you report negative? And you did. Oof. Starbucks getting pushed a little bit to the downside there. What did you report? 8.76 billion versus 8.86, so missing estimates. 41 cents versus 50 cents, missing estimates over there. Consolidated net revenue was up 2% year over year. Global comparable stores declined by 1%, driven by a 2% decline in comparable transactions, partially offset by 1% increase in an average ticket. What about China? Company said stores in China were flat in the quarter, and I'm pretty sure with this whole tariff talks and everything, this is not really going to be helping out Starbucks. I think I've been watching, how exports to USA from China have been getting lower. The amount of shipping containers have been getting lower. That's possibly actually going to affect stocks like ZIM and so on. Maybe something to take a look over there. But the China and US things are not actually going in the right direction. Oh, let me watch the save. Hold up. Oh, I missed it. My optimism has turned. I'm not going to read all that. Improving. What about the guidance? Suspended its guidance for the fiscal year 2025. So this is going to be the trend for the most part. You either get the Delta Airlines way, where they give you the guidance for the worst case scenario and the normal case scenario, or you get companies coming out and saying we're just not going to guide at all, and those are the two cases that you're going to be seeing overall. Starbucks making a nice move to the downside again, almost right back to last week's low, And sadly, all you coffee buyers, if you are a Starbucks lover, Miss V for example, you are not going to be liking this downside move. Nice little downside move for me though, because any pop on this name, I am mostly looking for the shorts. I am not bullish on Starbucks at all. So for any pops tomorrow, I would love to short this name. Why isn't that candle colored in a special color? Oh, because of that candle? Because of that candle? Anyways, regular trading hours. Let me zoom out a little bit. And pretty sure stock is somewhere here, right? Oh, we're below it. Perfect. Perfect. So right in this pocket right here is where I'm looking to trade it. If it pops tomorrow and stays below 80, stays below 81.50, I'm looking to short this name. I'm pretty sure it's right around $80 right now. Where is it at? Yep, right around $80. So if it stays below 80, I mean the earnings anchor VWAP is actually right at that line that I just threw down. So that line is around $83, $81.58. Earnings VWAP is at $81.84. That's actually on the hourly. On the 5-minute, it's right around that very same area. So if we do get a pop above 80, that is going to be my level that I'm going to be watching this name. But the inflection level would be the nice even dollar level 80. So for anyone who's confused by what that means, basically even dollar, if it starts to reject below 80, I might start to get short a little bit for a starter position. But if it pops into the resistance and gives me some sort of a trouble at the resistance, that's where I'm looking to really get short and then push it to the downside. But if 81.50 looks like it's about to get firm and get strong, then I don't want to be short anymore. I'm possibly closing my short and walking away from that trade. 38 seconds left in the second quarter here. Damn, it's almost 9 o'clock and I have only gone through 2 stocks so far. Okay, FSLR, another stock that reported earnings. Recently, FSLR had a positive earnings or positive news catalyst. I forget what it was, but let's take a look at this. Falls short on Q1 earnings, cuts full year guidance due to tariffs, shares tumble. So 844.57 versus 839, that's a beat. Total revenue was down 700 million, however, from the prior quarter, primarily driven by anticipated seasonal reduction in module sales. Okay, 1.95 versus 2.63, that's a miss over there. And guidance, I guess they cut is what they were saying, 4.5 to 5.5, previously 5.3 to 5.8. That's a pretty big cut versus overall guidance of estimates of 5.46. So they were already below estimates, or no, they were around estimates, but now their higher end is below estimates, sadly. Previously expected 17 to 20 with an estimate of 18.20, and now they're giving you a guidance of 12.50 to 17.50. So dropping it because of Trump daddy. So not a good sign, and sadly pushing back into previous ranges for FSLR. They looked like they had a good news and they were ready to pop higher, but pushing right back into these ranges, it's going to be a little hard looking for an extreme short in the middle of these ranges. So if it does go all the way back down here tomorrow, I think the easier trade honestly is to look for some sort of a long off of 116.56. But for me to get short, it would need to actually stay below here. I think FSLR, I mean, it makes like what they're guiding $12 to $17 a year. They're a profitable company. They're not a company that doesn't make money, right? Oops, don't zoom in. They're a profitable company. They have a PE of 1142. It's not something I'm overly excited to get short until it gets below that big support level. Yeah, it's under its 200-day moving average, but it really needs to get below its support area over here for me to be excited to short it. So I might look long once it gets down there, but the second it looks weak below that 116.50, that's when the shorts are game on for me. So keeping an eye on this one for sure, for both directions. Only around one price point, that's 116.50. REGN had its earnings move today, intraday. Oh, then I don't care about this name. What the heck? Moving on from REGN. Actually, let's go take a look at the daily chart on REGN. Yeah, I don't care about this one. SMCI, more important. SMCI sells off with their preliminary guidance news. That's a big move right there. They actually spent a lot of good time climbing back up, pushing into previous levels, and that news obviously is not going to help them out by any chance. So SMCI dropping to the downside, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot. So pushing right back down just before their earnings report. Because they guided lower. Look at that white line that I just threw in, that was exactly a last week's low, and that's where the bottom happened to be. I guess you have a box right between last month's low and last week's low. Pre-market, we'll see what happens. Any pops, I'm guessing for the most part, is just short the pops, and if we do bounce above 28, above 29, possibly no more shorts at that point, but I could see this stock being a very high priority. So right now I'm just gonna put it as a purple, and I already have some of the levels marked out, so I'm not really going to put some levels in my watch list for this one at the moment. I'm going to wait for pre-market to show me what levels to be excited for. What's wrong with Caterpillar? Hello? Hello? Caterpillar? I'm missing data on Caterpillar? What's going on over here? What's going on over here with Caterpillar? That's pretty strange. Never seen that before. Let's go to Caterpillar. Anyways, the stock that's reporting earnings tomorrow pre-market. This is what the chart looks like at the moment. That's a pretty good bullish chart. Just recently got back above the $300 area, holding above 300 right before its earnings report. And tomorrow, if the report is bullish, I don't think you're gonna get a chance to get long around the $300 at all. So good report. The stock should clear well above this little 3-day, 4-day high that it's been creating. But on a negative report, it should get right back below 300, at which point you can short below 300. So not sure. Weird. You have data on Caterpillar? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with my charts over here. Reload without saving on Caterpillar. Come on. There we go. So if it does, get back below 300, there's just no more longs at that point. But staying above 300, it should, for the most part, if the report is good, and then it should push back into some of these moving averages. You can see right there, previous earnings VWAP, 200-day moving average, 50-day moving average. So still got quite some work to reclaim, and also good PE, 13 PE. So Caterpillar, also good volume for a $300 name. It's going to be spready. Just be ready for that. But I think you will see at least 5-6 million shares traded by the end of the day on this name from its earnings report. That's usually what happens on the stock. So I'm excited for this one. 100% on the report, on the watch, and at a high priority. HUM, I already have so many purple stocks on my watch list. It's going to be pretty hard for me to trade a name like HUM, something that I haven't really traded ever. And also look at the liquidity on this, right? $200-$300 name, same like Caterpillar, and trades way less volume than Caterpillar. Sometimes that could be a good thing, but sometimes, most of the time, it's a bad thing, especially if you're trying to day trade. So be careful. It is currently grinding the 200-day moving average to the downside. Very clear downslope on the 200-day, and if the report is bad, I don't think it matters if the report is good, because clearly on every single good report it pops and then it gets slammed back down from the 200-day. So I don't think it matters on the good side, but I guess if it does come out good, then you just short the pop, right? You just short the pop, and then you wait for the resistance to come into play. But for the most part, I'm not even interested to trade this name. It's just on the watch list because it's no longer a $500 name that I remember it being. So HUM, let's see if pre-market gets me excited on that name. Western Digital, always interested to trade Western Digital, so keeping an eye on this one. Usually a name that I also trade along with Western Digital when this reports is Seagate Technologies, STX. So Seagate Technology, another one to keep an eye on. GEHC, this one's also reporting tomorrow pre-market. Talked about that one quickly earlier when we were creating the watch list. PayPal, so day 2 trade, ideally on for a day 2 trade, a stock needs to have a day 1 trade, and I don't think Palantir qualifies for that. For the most part, Palantir, you can see how in the pre-market popped up, then it dropped to the downside, then it got right back up, and then it spent the whole day right between yesterday's ranges. I don't think that's an exciting thing at all to watch for as a day 2 trade. So I mean, it's on the watch list, but PayPal, did I say Palantir? I've been saying Palantir. PayPal is not really something that I'm excited for a day 2 because the day 1 was very lame on it, but for sure on the watch list for tomorrow. Same idea for UPS. They reported positive, but they dropped to the downside. Similar idea, just not the highest priority of names for tomorrow. SoFi could be something to keep an eye on. It did gap close, so if support comes in at today's low or Friday's high, or actually not Friday, Monday's high, then that could give you some sort of a move right back up after this area shows you that buyers are stepping back in. It's still above its 200-day moving average, so something to keep an eye out for. And SoFi could give you a really good risk to reward trade, but it really needs to show support above today's low, or even like at worst, you need to show me support at $13. If 13 can't hold tomorrow, then there is almost no trade for me on SoFi at all. A name that I actually am excited to look for a day 2 trade is Pfizer. Pfizer with usually you know how non-excited I am to trade Pfizer, but when stocks like Pfizer, when you get a move like Pfizer had today, that gets me a little excited. So Pfizer, pretty bullish stock, pretty bullish move overall, and any strength above 24 tomorrow, or any strength into the earnings VWAP, today's VWAP, 2350 area, this stock will be a pretty high priority for a day 2 trade. So looking to see how this stock sets up. I'm gonna quickly throw in some levels. Inflection level 2350, resistance 24 to 2420, support basically $23. You can even say 2350 as your support. It shouldn't really get below 23 in my opinion tomorrow. If it does, there's just no more longs on that name. RCL got smoked a little bit, but you know, here's a mistake that I did. Yeah, I got that short from yesterday's low right here. After it had that little 3-bar breakdown opportunity, I got that short and quickly got out for a profit. But what I didn't do is read the earnings report. When I read the earnings report, I saw that the stock is actually growing on a year-to-year basis. And if you check what RCL's PE is, I'm pretty sure it's not ridiculously high for a stock who went from, I guess, like what, $12 from COVID era into $200, right? Is this COVID? Not 12, $24 from COVID era to $200. So one of the biggest boomers, biggest risers in the cruise line sector. So you would think the PE would be ridiculous. Nope, PE is not ridiculous, and the earnings report's actually not bad. They are growing on a year-to-year basis above its 200-day moving average. So all things considered, me taking that short was actually very, very stupid. So I'm glad that I got lucky. That could have been very bad to start the day for me. And this stream just wants to keep crashing, so I want to try a different stream real quick. Legal stream, chat. Legal stream. Okay, don't watch any illegal streams. All right. RCL for a day 2 trade. Potentially could be a day 2 trade, but because of the liquidity and the spread, I think I'm going to try my best to not focus on that name. And same idea on Spotify. Try my best to not try to look for a trade on Spotify because of the spread and the liquidity on this name. I mean, Spotify 10 million shares for a $600 name, not bad. If you wait for the right levels, if you give it the right risk parameter, not parameter, if you give it the right risk for the trade, then you should be able to get the right reward for it too. But it's just one of those names that's not the easy money trade in my opinion. But can you find one? Possibly. So Spotify in the watch list, but I'm not going to bother with talking for it tomorrow. I'm only looking for the best out of the best, the creme de la creme trades that we find for tomorrow that I want to talk about on stream. Also mainly because I'm running out of time and I have a shit ton of dishes downstairs to do. Also haven't eaten dinner, so I gotta go do that. HIMS NVO. HIMS obviously looking for a day 2 trade. Today's low, today's VWAP, today's high. It gapped up to the north side pretty well and then just traded sideways for the most part. Didn't give up the whole day's gain. That's a pretty bullish if you ask me. So looking to see how HIMS can come into play for a day 2 trade. If you can, you know, potentially give us a dip into day 2 into today's low, that would be an opportunity there, but ideally you should not dip that low at all. NVO also gapped up, another name that you can keep an eye on. NVO has been getting beat down, so that's something to keep an eye on if you're interested. 3 ficking commercials. Your stream's getting popular. Well, buddy, I didn't even know they're playing commercials. That's crazy, because I'm pretty sure my commercials are turned off. If they're playing commercials, they are robbing me. They are robbing me. They're not giving me a single dollar from that. QBTS short report. Watch that one. OKTA. I kind of have too many names at this point. Maybe I'm just gonna skim through these for us. OKTA obviously gapped up, so watching that for sure. And its partner in crimes, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, PanW. I mean, Zscaler is kind of maybe even a little too crazy at this point, where you could look for some sort of a mean reversion trade, some sort of a short opportunity for a stock that climbed up so far so quick. And that could be, you know, actually a potential trade over there. I'll watch for that. I'll watch for resistance at today's high, or a failed breakout at today's high, and then some sort of a retracement back low. So 225 is going to be that inflection level for me on Zscaler. MicroStrategy having a nice little run up to the north side. I told you guys look for that hold at 345, 350, and look for the long from that. Look what it did. A good $40-50 move from that price point. So shout out to anyone who actually rode that call out. You are enjoying a nice move on Bitcoin, on MSTR. Bitcoin hasn't even broken out from that range yet, but MicroStrategy is on an absolute heater at the moment. I know Dieter, who's got his money tied up in that stock, is absolutely loving it at the moment. So shout out to Dieter for making boku bucks, baby, boku bucks. Bitcoin making still a range, but once that range explodes, I think MicroStrategy explodes higher. So for sure, watching all of this, watching IBIT, watching Robinhood, watching Coinbase, watching the whole sector without fail. Nvidia, Did it have a negative news in the after hours? I forget what the negative news for Nvidia was in the after hours. But even over here, Nvidia had some negative news. So if something happened, like, I'm not able to really pinpoint. I guess this could be the SMCI thing. SMCI cutting their guidance, possibly giving Nvidia a little bit of a move back down. The main thing that matters for Nvidia's earnings report, Nvidia's stock price, in my opinion, is still Nvidia's report, but more importantly, what Meta and Microsoft and other companies, Amazon and Apple, talk about their capital expenditure. If Meta comes out and says we're going to reduce our capital expenditure from 60 billion to a much lower price, that's not going to be good for Nvidia. That's going to actually hurt Nvidia very bad. So you know, that's going to be something to keep an eye out for, and until then, I think it's just very sideways. Market doesn't really seem like it has the juice yet, and it seems like market wants to wait for the big names to report earnings itself. So this is not the time to be swinging and slinging guns. It's time to, you know, preserve the capital that you have made, preserve the mental, and be ready for when that range expansion happens across the board, so you can then slam them. Reddit and GME, don't they get boost of Bitcoin too? Yes, but I'm not trading these names because of Bitcoin. If I want to trade Bitcoin, I'm trading most likely MSTR or IBIT or Coinbase. I'm not looking at Reddit or GME for Bitcoin exposure. You know, they are something that you could use as exposure to Bitcoin, but at that point, I know, like, why not just put it into IBIT? That is the most perfect way for you to get exposure to Bitcoin without directly buying Bitcoin. So it just doesn't make sense to me why you would want to do it that route in terms of trading, swing trading, investing, whatever it is, right? Coming back to a watch list, Nvidia, Tesla, always my highest priority names of the large cap ETF. After that, it's Amazon and Apple, and then Meta and Microsoft, with Google at the last bottom of the important tier for me. Always cycling through these names. You know, I have a bunch of levels mapped out for all of these stocks. I actually deleted all of my lines for Nvidia just before the stream. But I have levels mapped out for most of them. You can see how Microsoft could potentially break out and start making a move towards the 200-day moving average. That would be a cool long over there. So map out the most recent highs, lows, hourly levels, and so on, and then basically play level to level and look to see how the markets are reacting. Right, markets going up, I'll be going through all of these stocks, all 7 of them, and I'll look to see which one of these 7 stocks looks strong, and then I'll get long the strongest. If the market's going down, I'll go through all 7 of them and I'll look to see which of the 7 look the weakest, and then I'll get short. So always on my watch list for trade opportunities, and obviously the markets themselves. Here is my market layout. I can quickly bring this down over here. It used to only be QQQ, SPY, and the Dow Jones. So it only used to be QQQ and the SPY, but now I recently added the Dow Jones too, because it's actually not a bad idea to look at the Dow, in my opinion. At the same time, sometimes you can see how the Dow sells off before the Q and the SPY, and that can potentially stop you from looking into a long on the overall market and so on, and vice versa. Sometimes the Dow will kick back higher before the Q and the SPY. It's just something that one of my friends has noticed. He probably does not want me to even talk about this, and honestly I don't have enough experience using this at all, but something to keep an eye on. So I added the Dow also. Did they just score? Why is the time paused? Okay, they didn't score. I hope not. So this is my watch list, or not watch list. This is my layout for my overall market. Diter actually helped me with these ones. These are the tick, the VOLD and the ADD, and set up for each specific market. So this is for NASDAQ, this one's for the S&P 500, so, or I should say New York. So this is for the NASDAQ specifically, this is for the New York specifically, and this is for both the NASDAQ and the New York, baby. Doesn't matter, the Kings are going to win it all. Alright, buddy, chill out. It's the Maple Leaf year, and they are going. Oh, what a save! It's the Maple Leaf year, and they are going to win it. We are going to win the Stanley Cup after 1967. Is that the year we won it last? Anyways, that's the watch list for tomorrow. Pretty sure I've spent enough time with you guys. It's time to go watch the game while I do the dishes. It's actually a couple more things left to do with you guys over here, which is show you guys the econ calendar. Econ calendar tomorrow. Is it busy? Let's take a quick look at the econ calendar. 3-star events: Chicago PMI 9:45, core PCE 10 o'clock, crude oil inventories 10:30. And those are the 3-star event. GDP at 8:30, another 3-star event, and then you have your 8:15 non. You know what? This color scheme is actually not good because I'm not able to see the 3-star event so easily. There we go. This one's much better now, although it feels like there's a damn flashbang in my eyes. So 8:15 non-pharma payroll. 8:30 GDP, 9:45 Chicago PMI, 10 o'clock core PCE, and 10:30 you have crude oil inventory. So quite a bunch of stuff coming out tomorrow. Most of that is off the open or a little bit before the open. So 8:30, 9:45, and then 10 o'clock. So keep an eye out, especially for trading futures. You want to make sure what happens at these times, because that could bring in some volatility and some spikes or some dumps on the market and so on. For the IPO calendar, I'm pretty sure there's nothing else left because we are coming to the end of the month tomorrow. So final day of the month tomorrow. Make sure that you're not acting stupid and giving back your whole month and ending red. And I'm talking to myself when I say this. Don't act stupid. Don't give back your whole month on the final day of the month. And good luck. I'll see you guys as always next day, 8 o'clock. TraderPrad out. Peace. Thank you for coming. Check the links below in the description. Thank you for coming. Peace.
Get ready for trade off of. Get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here, back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader Sync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.